The push to increase pay for political office holders is what everyone is talking about. I'm joined by Ladia Wutinde for more on this development. RMAFC is claiming that presidential pay is around 1.5 million naira per month and that ministers earn less than a million naira. And that hasn't changed since 2008. But, critics argue that these numbers don't really reflect the true earnings, especially for running costs and other undisclosed allowances. What do you think?
Good evening, Ifemi. Good evening, Nigerians. It's good to be back here again. Um, it's very interesting the way and manner we address issue in Nigeria, especially issue of public interest such as this. You will recall very well that under the tenure of former President Olusegun Obasanjo, he was the first in this political dispensation that came up with this ideal of review of allowances and emolument of public office holders in Nigeria. And then it was quite a lot of furore that came along with it because it was a review like has never been seen before. And after that, what happened was that it was the first time in history in Nigeria where we begin to see that councillors of local government councillors actually earn way more higher than what professors and what medical doctors or engineers in Nigeria earn. And that was quite a lot of resistance, but it stood. And you will recall the allowances that was also designed for people in National Assembly. And I think, if I remember very well, it was one of the reasons why some member of the House took against the former Speaker of the House, Honorable Patricia Lubumite, that time, and they took on quite a lot of things. We had issue of wardrobe allowances in millions and millions, and Nigeria, we had no choice, but we stood with it. And even despite the fact that people were not very comfortable with what they get, but it came to stay. And up to today, fast forward to today, what we have right now, and we started getting complaints that president was placed on 1.5, minister earned less than a million, and all of that. But let's put this into proper context so we understand exactly what we're talking about. So since 1999 to today, Nifemi, you will agree with me that almost everyone who has been in political office in Nigeria, even those who were nobody before they were elected or appointed, all of them became the king of their community in the next 6 months or 1 year. So when they say is 1.5 million for salary of the president, so what about those unspoken allowances that nobody talks about? What about those Esther codes that nobody talks about? What about those benefits that nobody talks about, that all forms of allowances that you've never ever had before? Nobody talks about it. We were in this same country under the tenure of former President Jonathan. You will remember that there was a budget row that over billions and billions were budgeted for rice, for feeding in State House, and all of that. So how do you tell me that you provided 1.5 million to a president and we spent 24 billion to build a house for a vice president? So, I mean, those are things that you don't get to put in, you don't understand. And now I read the statement of the chairman of Revenue Mobilization, Allocation and Fiscal Commission, Mr. Sanusi, yesterday, I think, or day before yesterday, and he said that is ridiculous. They need to graduate this thing to make the recent demand that is acceptable. So now we complain about inflation, we complain about allowances not meeting what it is. So how do we adjust the impact of the same inflation on civil servants, on regular day Nigerian? I read a Bloomberg report, I think it was the day before yesterday, they reported 73% of Nigerian GDP to be under informal economy. And you ask yourself, how do you capture these people? How do you provide a buffer for them? Because they also experience inflation. So when the laborers were fighting for increments in wages, the quick explanation that we got was that they can't do too much because it's going to cause inflation. So how come salaries of workers causes inflation, but emolument of people in politics does not cause the same inflation? So they will come up to you and tell you, oh, it's a constitutional matter, it wasn't a personal matter. So to guarantee that average Nigerian live a good life, isn't that a constitutional matter? That's a constitutional matter. So why are we not attending to that constitutional matters, and we're just focusing on these constitutional matters that benefit people in power?
It's interesting the way you have put it, and that really resonates with quite a number of Nigerians, because just last year, a Kano senator claimed that his monthly take-home package was over 21 million naira. And I'm sure you heard the Senate saying that that's running cost for the office and not necessarily personal payment. The Nigeria Labour Congress, as we speak now, has also condemned the proposed review. In fact, they've called it insensitive and inequitable, cautioning that it could deepen poverty, inequality, and stir social unrest. Are we walking on eggshells here? Could this further agitate Nigerians against this administration?
Well, I want to believe that this administration, they're smart enough to know what they should do and what they shouldn't do. President Bola Tinubu has been around for a very long time. He has been at the vanguard of struggles and advocacy for a very long time, even before he became president. I believe very strongly, President Tinubu is a people-oriented president. He lives in the grassroots. He was raised by a market woman. He dined and wine with market people. So I think he understands a little bit of that. However, I know that there's a little bit of change that comes to when you are in power, the challenges and all of that, the formations around you in terms of what you think is a quality feedback and what should be done. But I heard the NLC say that was unequitable, that was unjust. I don't think it's just about that. I think it's also satanic, because you don't look at what these people get and look at what you pay an everyday Nigerian. We're talking about population of about 230 million people. And these people, they're not even up to 1 million, to be honest, Nifemi. The people, this demography that we're talking about, they're not even up to 1 million. That is less than 0.4% of the total population of Nigeria. So everything, okay, so we're stabilizing the economy right now. So we need to acknowledge that the economy is being stabilized. Oil production is picking up every day, and we're praying that they can also tip to the target of 2 million barrels per day that they've set for themselves. Inflation is tipping down. We're still beyond 22%. We believe we can come sporadically down from that. We're still having poverty index is still very high. We're still contesting. We're in the bottom strong of the poorest country in the world. We're still contesting that there's a huge amount of infrastructure deficit. You will understand. So every time they tell you, oh, okay, we need to do so much, but we can't do too much because there's no money for it. We understand all that. So if you don't have money to fill those gaps in terms of the deficit that we see in infrastructure, the deficit we see in health sector, okay, Nifemi, I've lived in Lagos and I'm from Osun State. I can tell you that in Osun State, I doubt it today, because I know very well that about 2 years ago, there was no single functional MRI machine in the entire state. No single functional MRI machine. If you need to do MRI in Osun State, you either go to Afewa Balala or you come to Lagos. So it was really, really that bad. Okay. And now look at the deficit in gaps.
Today, we have completely run out of time, right? So we probably will continue this conversation. I expect to get a feedback from a government official on this matter ASAP. Ladia today, public affairs analyst, joined us from Canada, but he's more Nigerian than quite a number of people watching from Nigeria.
I can bet I am way more Nigerian than quite a lot of people.
We're going to continue this conversation subsequently. You know, a former minister anonymously confessed that actual perks and culture of entitlements often far outweigh official pay rendering many of these salaries symbolic at their best. So we're open to see former salary reviews that matter when perks, influence trading, and discretionary funds constitute real wealth. We're looking forward to see how this match up and how government is going to respond. Thank you, everyone, for being a part of it. Remember that you can watch it again at midnight and 6 a.m. tomorrow. I am Nifemi Oguntoye.